What if I told you that one of the most overlooked coins in America isn't a rare gold coin, a silver dollar, or a centuries-old treasure? It's a nickel, just 5 cents. The kind of coin most people throw into a jar, leave in their car, or ignore completely. But here's what's fascinating. Some Jefferson nickels that look completely ordinary have sold for hundreds, thousands, and in extraordinary cases, even tens of thousands of dollars because of tiny details most people never notice. Today, we're examining 6 Jefferson nickels: 1941D, 1952 with no mint mark, 1953D, 1959D, 1960D, and 1970D. At first glance, they may look almost identical. But by the end of this video, you'll understand why collectors inspect these coins so carefully, and why a single detail could make the difference between a 5-cent coin and a highly sought-after collectible. Let's start with the oldest coin in the collection. The 1941D Jefferson nickel was struck at the Denver Mint during one of the most important years in American history. At the time, the United States had not yet entered World War II. People were going to work, shopping, and living their normal lives, unaware of how dramatically the world was about to change. That alone makes this coin a fascinating piece of history. Millions of 1941D nickels were minted, which means the date itself isn't particularly rare. However, collectors know that rarity isn't just about how many coins were made. It's about how many survived in exceptional condition. Most of these nickels spent decades circulating through stores, vending machines, and cash registers. They picked up scratches, wear, and damage along the way. As a result, finding a truly sharp example today is much more difficult than finding an average one. Collectors pay special attention to something called full steps on the reverse of the coin. These are the steps leading up to Monticello. If every step is sharply visible, the coin becomes much more desirable because it indicates a stronger strike from the mint. That's one of the first lessons of coin collecting. 2 coins may look identical to most people, yet one can be worth many times more because of a tiny detail. Next is the 1952 Jefferson nickel. One thing many beginners notice immediately is that it has no mint mark. Some assume that means it's an error, but that's actually normal. For Jefferson nickels of this period, no mint mark means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. By 1952, America was experiencing rapid economic growth. The war was over, suburbs were expanding, and television sets were becoming common household items. This nickel circulated through that era of optimism and prosperity. Although millions were produced, condition remains everything. Many examples were heavily used for decades, leaving relatively few with strong luster and minimal wear. Collectors are constantly searching for examples that appear almost untouched by time. A coin that has survived 70 years with beautiful surfaces is far more impressive than one that has spent its entire life in circulation. That's why experienced collectors never judge a coin solely by its age. The 1953D Jefferson nickel is another coin that many people overlook. To the average person, it looks almost identical to countless other nickels. To a collector, however, it represents another opportunity to find something special. The Denver Mint produced large quantities of these coins, but high-quality examples are always in demand. Most surviving pieces show signs of wear because they were actively used in everyday commerce. Every scratch, dent, and mark reduces the number of premium examples available today. That's where collector competition begins. The best preserved examples naturally become the most desirable. Another reason collectors inspect coins like the 1953D so carefully is the possibility of mint errors. Most coins leave the mint exactly as intended. Occasionally, though, mistakes happen. A doubled design, a die crack, or another unusual feature can transform an ordinary coin into something much more interesting. That's why serious collectors study every detail. The treasure is often hidden in places most people never think to look. Now let's move to the 1959D Jefferson nickel. This coin represents the final year of the 1950s, a decade remembered for tremendous economic growth and cultural change. By this time, television was everywhere, highways were expanding, and America was entering a new era of modern living. Millions of 1959 D nickels were struck and circulated throughout the country. Because of those large mintages, many people assume these coins have little collector value. But experienced collectors understand something important. A coin can be common overall while still being rare in top condition. That's where grading becomes crucial. Most surviving examples have marks, scratches, or signs of wear. Finding one with outstanding eye appeal becomes increasingly difficult. And as difficulty increases, so does collector demand. The difference between an average coin and an exceptional one can be surprisingly large. Sometimes the smallest details create the biggest differences. The 1960 D Jefferson nickel marks the beginning of a new decade. The 1960s would eventually become one of the most transformative periods in modern history. Yet at the start of the decade, the Jefferson nickel remained largely unchanged. Millions of these coins were produced and used daily across the country. Most people never paid much attention to them. Collectors, however, see something different. They see a surviving artifact from a specific moment in time. One of the most important factors collectors consider with the 1960 D is strike quality. Coins with stronger details and clearly visible full steps tend to attract more attention. The sharper the coin, the more desirable it becomes. By this period, coin collecting itself was becoming increasingly popular. More people were saving coins, filling albums, and studying different dates and mint marks. As a result, many 1960 D nickels were preserved. Even so, truly elite examples remain difficult to find. Perfection is rare, regardless of how many coins were originally minted. Finally, we arrive at the 1970 D Jefferson nickel. This coin is nearly 30 years younger than the 1941 D, yet it teaches one of the most important lessons in coin collecting. Age alone does not determine value. Many people assume older automatically means more valuable. That's not always true. By 1970, collecting coins had become a major hobby across the United States. More people were actively saving coins than ever before. Yet, despite those efforts, most examples still picked up damage over time. Contact marks, weak strikes, and improper storage all reduced the number of top-quality survivors. That's why collectors continue searching for exceptional examples. A coin doesn't need to be ancient to be desirable. It simply needs to possess qualities that collectors want. Condition, rarity, eye appeal, and uniqueness often matter more than age itself. The 1970 D is proof of that principle. This is the question everyone wants answered. Could one of these nickels be worth a fortune? The answer depends entirely on the coin. Most examples are not worth huge amounts of money. However, extraordinary examples can command surprisingly strong prices. Collectors pay premiums for exceptional condition, rare varieties, and significant mint errors. Those factors are what separate ordinary coins from standout collectibles. Two coins with the same date and mint mark can have dramatically different values. One might be worth very little. The other might attract serious collector attention. To someone unfamiliar with coin collecting, they may appear identical. That's what makes the hobby so fascinating. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is often hidden in the details. When viewed together, these 6 Jefferson nickels tell a story that spans nearly 3 decades of American history. The 1941 D takes us to the eve of World War II. The 1952 and 1953 D reflect the optimism of post-war America. The 1959 D closes out a remarkable decade. The 1960 D opens a new chapter. And the 1970 B shows how coin collecting itself was evolving. Most people would see 6 ordinary nickels. Collectors see 6 opportunities, 6 stories, and 6 pieces of history. That's the beauty of coin collecting. Sometimes the most fascinating treasures aren't made of gold or silver. Sometimes they're hiding in a simple 5-cent coin that everyone else overlooked.